Hello, beloveds. I'm a little under the weather, but today we are getting Philly, Jersey, knuckle deep Grammy about a common challenge, the internal conflict that arises from pain and allegiance and pleasure of longing, and why cha-cha change is so challenging. First, I'll briefly share a little bit about my story and my cha-cha change dance. You know this, you feel like you take one step forward and then two steps back. Pain pushes you back, and the pleasure of your sober, abundant life vision pulls you forward. Finally, we'll reveal why some freely available resources for your journey. Once upon a time, I followed the prescribed path given to me by my parents, grandparents, and great grandparents, the American dream. I got good grades, graduated near the top of my class, and got a scholarship to a top school in the US. I left the US. I graduated. I left the US, traveled, studied, and work overseas before starting graduate school at Moscow State University in Moscow, Russia. Coming back to the US, I started an internship at a Wall Street firm where I excelled at traditional brand marketing and sales as a junior financial advisor. We served high net worth individuals with part business and part pleasure. I mingled with multicultural sports and entertainment figures and their air quote, I knew them before they were famous management teams and their parents. Ranked number one in my training class, I doubled the 20% close average of cold calling prospects, events, conferences, and in-person meetings. But I hated the soul-sucking blue ball brand, machismo marketing, and slimy sales. Conflicted, I was at the best of what I did, but I didn't like the standard Yang power methods I was trained in. Working 10 to 15 hours, oh, I was a part-time bookkeeper for a feng shui master to get experience to qualify to take the Certified Public Accountant exam. Additionally, I was on the founding team of the National Association of Asian American Professionals, NAP, Philadelphia. I pushed myself to the brink and was exhausted and burning out. I kept on working until chronic pain debilitated my body. I ignored my own needs to eat and sleep and other signals that my career didn't align with my values. And I was doing what was prescribed to me by my parents and grandparents for a paycheck, which there is nothing wrong with what they thought was best for me. There was just no me in any of their plans. I didn't even know what was important to me, who I was, why, and how not to stay loyal to the pain, unable to identify and process my own feelings. All I knew is that I felt, excuse my language or pardon my French, shitty, depressed, anxious, restless, irritable, and discontent, aka Darried, all the time. So much so, I thought it was my purpose. And anytime I was disloyal to the pain, my generational trauma, family addictions, abuse, allegiance, and poverty, I'd freak out. It kept me in my yang power comfort zone, full of fear, control. And it was challenging me to grow into my yin power growth zone, full of love and choice, toward my sober, abundant life vision, aka myself. You can look at it as your salvation. I wanted myself, or my healing balm, but I couldn't quite grasp it. Later, I named it my study committee that we cover extensively in our BizDeva intensive. My body eventually broke down. Walking long distance and eating solid foods became challenging, but I kept on pushing forward to get back to my old life that I hated, but it felt familiar. Thanks, family. My yang power comfort zone. The more I pushed, the worse I got. I almost had to die. At least the old me in the yang power comfort zone did. To grow into the yin power growth zone. To cha-cha change dance. Yet, through my deteriorating health crisis, When I had one of my near-death experiences, I stopped trying so hard, and yin power surrendered. My entire purpose in life changed from a rational and logical agnostic atheist to one of spiritually inspired creativity and service that evolved into my sober, abundant life vision self as I entered my yin power growth zone. That's my cha-cha change dance. Allegiant to the pain. You feel like you're white knuckling sometimes, yet longing for the pleasure. Woo woo over here. And hopefully you and your loved ones do not have to almost die to be reborn. Let me tell you, not really a pleasant experience. The cha-cha change dance is not only our internal path, but it's happening all around us. Except that we can be unaware of our own evolution. The entire world's energy and dynamics are also changing from a yang power to a yin power paradigm, and eventually we'll move into the new power paradigm. I hope I'm alive to witness that. You can see it in our society, in our gender expression and clothing. Once, women fought to wear pants. Recently, men fought to wear skirts. And now there's popular unisex clothing. Unisex clothing, so much cheaper. I love it. Bathrooms, they were once segregated by race, usually by gender, and now family and gender free, whatever you want to call it, genderless restrooms. Society, culture, and media continue to morph as the yang power comfort zone traditional structures are falling apart right before our eyes. And that's why it's been challenging to grow and change, whether it's our lives or businesses, until we face the past of our generational trauma, family addictions, abuse allegiance, and poverty. If you work in an organization and are struggling with brand, marketing, and sales, and even if you don't work in an organization and struggling with personal happiness, health, and um, and of course, your own purpose. We invite you to take our 14-day BizDeva challenge to learn the basics of the 11 universal laws. Dun 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 dun. You might be thinking, what are the 11 universal laws? Well, sign up and find out. All right. You can go to www.biz-deva.com. All right, my beloveds. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy this glorious weekend. And bye for now.